Live. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dustin Distefano, CEO of A Place at Home Senior Care, and I'm here along with Gary Lafreniere of Merrimack Valley, Massachusetts, suburbs of Boston, and Rookie of the Year of the A Place at Home system. What's up, Gary?
Hey Dustin, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's snowing, and you can't see it, but I just opened my window to show the snow.
So we're going to
So
see that in a few days, probably, is my
it's
guess.
coming. It's coming to the east. It's coming to the
Yep.
east. So, Gary, you won Rookie of the Year. I'm going to go through your background a little bit. Gary opened his doors. Let's see here, Gary. When was that? That was back in January of 2021 was your first month, roughly, correct?
Roughly,
I'm sorry. It was actually March of
yeah.
2021.
We started getting prepared in January. Opened up March 1, kind of still amidst the pandemic, but we muscled through it.
Muscled through it. You sure did, because you won Rookie of the Year. Now, Rookie of the Year, for those watching, is defined as in recognition of the top performing territory in their first full year open for business. So, congratulations, Gary. That was really big. A couple of things about Gary. Just recently, Gary joined the $1.5 million club, in which his business exceeded the monthly annualization of about $1.5 million of revenue. Right, Gary?
Yep.
Big
Last month.
day, big day. And you said you opened March 2021, and that only puts you in about a year and a half of doing that, a little bit over. So congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Secondly, Gary's rolling customer satisfaction, 3-month rolling customer satisfaction percentage is 94%. His client satisfaction 3-month rolling average is 94%. He has an office staff of 3, one of which was a previous caregiver. Is that correct?
Yes, Marley was a CNA. Yep.
That's what I thought. And that just goes back to last week. We talked about how a place at home offers opportunities to all of our caregivers to grow within our organization. Great model. And Gary also is on pace to blow this year out of the water. So congratulations, Gary. I think I nailed it all on the head here. Let's jump right into it with some questions on. We always like to ask this question. Back in January 2021, maybe 3 or 4 months prior, you were looking into franchises. What franchises did you look at? Let's start there.
We looked at Right at Home, Home Instead, and prior to that, we were actually looking at different industries. But once we narrowed it down to in-home care, it was those two plus a place at home.
Awesome. So we finished in the top 3 with those that have over 200 plus locations, and Homestead is actually the largest in the world. I have no problem in saying that.
Yeah.
But we're coming. So with that being said, why did you choose a place at home over that? Don't say because territory was available, because that'll hurt my feelings.
No, not at all. No, it was, it was a couple factors, Dustin, and it really was. You were the third one we talked to, so we talked to the other two. So I had a base of much larger franchises, and when I ended up talking to you and Jared initially, and looked at the company philosophy that you guys, their core values that you guys uphold, it matched up really well with what my wife Ariana and I believe in, what we wanted to get involved with. And I really didn't feel that from the other franchises. So after we got past meeting you guys, then got to meet, the magic behind the curtain there, the team behind the scenes, and that really sealed the deal for us. The support and resources that you guys as a corporate office offer the franchisees, it was off the charts. And it's not to me, it's not, and I learned this after, a quarterly or a monthly support type thing. This is a weekly thing that you guys are offering every franchisee. And that's something that was really important to us, all while allowing us the flexibility as owners to kind of run the business the way we want to. I'm in Massachusetts, right? I'm going to run it a little different probably than someone in Omaha or in Texas. It's just a different region, a different area, different things work. And you guys allow us the flexibility, but also the support and resources at corporate that made it a perfect match.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think you and Dina signed before you, right? Is that right?
Yeah, right
Dina
around the
out in
same
Pennsylvania.
time.
right around the same time frame. She broke the seal of the Northeast. Then you followed in the Northeast. Then we had Jessica in New Jersey followed in the last year. So now we have some nice presence up in the Northeast, and us as a franchisor, we weren't prepared for the one thing in the Northeast. I mean, we were prepared. We've seen it. We've looked at it, but live-ins was a big thing up there. I remember in your first year, we had a lot of conversations on what that looked like. And you did a few live-ins.
Mm-hmm.
I know Jessica and Dina have both done live-ins, so that was kind of new for us too. And that's what we look for with our franchisees is we value the feedback and what situations are you going through, and that's when we kind of depend on us to help you work through those issues. So I remember that vividly. Let's take you back to timeline. So you chose a place at home, best choice you've ever made in your life, more than likely, maybe other than marrying your lovely wife, and better half Ariana, right?
That's right.
You open your doors, your first 3 months go by, your first 6 months go by. What in those 6 months, for people who may be watching this looking into home care, and you can be open and honest here, what was in those first 6 months, what was the biggest surprises that you encountered other than COVID? COVID was you joined at the tail end of that, right? We had already responded to that and had plans in place for that. But what was the biggest surprises that you encountered in those first 6 months?
I think it was the roller coaster ride that it is, right? The ups and downs. And it's not like a corporate world where you're looking at performance on a quarterly, annually, kind of a monthly basis. To me, this business is a weekly. And I like it because I like to be in tune and in touch with everything on a weekly basis. So that was fine for me. I think stabilizing our caregiver roster was probably one of the bigger challenges that I was expecting a challenge, but it was harder than I thought. Being new to the industry and not used to hiring in that field, it was new for me. And to stabilize the roster was very challenging in the beginning. And you have the chicken or the egg, right? Do I go out and try to sales and marketing and bring in all these clients and then work at trying to fill them and hiring caregivers? Or do I hire a bunch of caregivers and then try and go get clients? Because if you hire caregivers and they're on the roster looking for hours and you can't fill them with clients, they're probably going to start looking somewhere else. So it's a really tough balance. And we talked about it, Dustin, through those first 6 months. I mean, you were out here. I opened up in March. I think you came out in May because I was having that challenge, and you flew out here and spent a couple of days with me. We kind of worked through that. How do we balance that? Making sure we have enough caregivers, but we have the clients to fill the shifts that they're looking for.
Absolutely. We hired a caregiver who was with you she was with you for a long time.
We actually, in that process, hired Marley, who ended up being my first coordinator, right? And now she's our recruiter and retention coordinator. So
I flew out there. We hired like 3 different people, got your office on track, and here you are. I got to take all the credit for that. So that's awesome. And you rewarded me by putting me up in a hotel that caught fire at night, and I had to go out and sleep in the van in the rain.
That was terrible. I apologize. That will never happen again. I got a better place for you next time. You can come stay at my house.
All right, fair enough. And for all full disclosure, the place was not on fire. A fire alarm got pulled, and it was pouring rain, and I had to go sleep in my minivan at 3 a.m. And I still made at 9 a.m. to your office to help Gary build his business. So never forget that. It's the stories we'll never forget, right?
Nope.
So with those struggles, right? Let's take a step back. You said it's a roller coaster of a ride. I think I always explain it to you as this is kind of like the stock market. You're going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have 100 billable hours. You're going to go to 20 billable hours. You're going to go to 200 billable hours. You're going to 120. And right now you're in that same not funk, but you're in that same position where you're in the mid $25,000s to $30,000 billing a week. Or not mid 30s, low high 20s. And our goal right now is to break 30. Once we break that 30 barrier, then we're on to the 35. I think we learned how that rolls. So how did you overcome these challenges that you get? Breaking the barriers, growing, scheduling. What was your mindset and how did you focus and what was your plan of action?
Well, I think the team effort really is what got us through that. I mean, once I brought on Marley, I mean, it's really hard. It's good. It's good to learn the business doing, I think, all the roles yourself. The first couple months I was doing things myself. And I think it's important if you're going to manage people that you do the role and responsibilities that you're going to manage. So I did it myself. But once I brought Marley on as a coordinator, and she helped, I just talked about stabilizing the roster. She helped stabilize that roster a little bit, and I could focus more on the sales and marketing. When you're doing everything, you're doing a little bit everything, but you're not doing any of those really well because you can't focus on it. So when she came in, former CNA at Leahy Hospital for 10 years, she knows that role. She knows, CNAs and what they're looking for. And she had people she could bring in. So I let her focus on that, and I focused on the other side of the business. And that, one of those ebbs and flows, one of those downtimes was right before that. And when I brought her in, we're able to really up our hours, find more clients, service those clients because she was bringing in the caregivers. So, and as we added more people, as I added Belinda, as we added Michelle, I think it came apparent to me early on that it's great to do it on your own for a little while. You save yourself some money, but really you got to get a team together, and it makes it easier on everybody, I think. So you can focus on the things that you need to focus on and that you do well.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. So actually, after you and Dino went through that little phase where it was like us trying to convince you to bring on office staff, we've never really, we've always held people accountable, but it wasn't a contractual obligation in our franchise agreement. In 2022, we actually added that after an owner hits 100 billable hours a week, they must hire office staff. Because what happens is, and it happened to you, and you see that, is that you get to that 100 hours a week, you've done all this sales and marketing, the chicken before the egg, you've hired all these people, you've got this thing and set. Then you get your first 5 to 7 clients, and then you're sucked out of the marketing, out of the sales, right into operations. Right. Lead flow starts to drop. You're spinning this way, you're spinning that way. You're missing things. I know you had to have missed things, maybe even lead calls that cost you business that you forgot to follow up with a prospect because you're sitting there dealing with a fire, right? And then hiring that person to alleviate that, taking that part over is going to take you to the next level. And that's what happened with you. Once Marley came on, you broke that barrier and went into a whole new different level, right?
Yep. Yep.
And I think that played a huge part in Rookie of the Year. Am I wrong? Or
absolutely. That's when it took off. And I started to build, I talk about this, with the team, we build the foundation. I started to build the foundation, one, of caregivers, good, reliable caregivers. The turnover rate was slowing down. It wasn't a high turnover, and build a foundation of clients too, that we can build off and add to. So yeah, I mean, early on when it was just me, I cringed at thinking this, but a lead would come in and I'd be like, oh, like I wouldn't be excited. So I'd be like, I don't know how I'm going to fill this. Like, I feel bad type of thing. And now, we don't have that concern, and just keep adding to the foundation, I guess, is what we've been doing. That helped us get through it.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to mention too, Gary, and you might be able to help me with this, is the current prospect in the last year and a half since COVID has really shifted from, I would say, owner operator, someone who wants to be in the business day to day. Now we look for those 100%. Those are what we target. However, we've had to adapt and had to be able to come up with a way. How can someone put money into this and let it manage itself? Now, I'll be fully transparent here. Your chances of rapid growth doing that is less than someone who has stake in the game, who has their blood, sweat, and tears in it, right? Would you agree with that?
Yes, 100%.
However, if you're willing to make that investment into an infrastructure like you've had out of the gate and be more of an outsider management, do you think that's possible for somebody to do since you have that infrastructure? Salesperson, operator, what do you think? What's your opinion?
It is. The key is kind of obvious. The people you're putting in those roles, right? If you get rock stars, and you're going to pay for it, but if you want to spend the money and pay for those people, I'm not. If I'm that person, I'm not bringing in people who have a great attitude and have done roles similar in other industries. I'm bringing in people who've been in this industry and have done it for a while and been successful, then yeah, I think that can be done. But don't try to, save money and get people on the cheap and just hope they can grow into a role. It's a lot. It's a lot to ask somebody who hasn't been in this particular industry and knows the ins and outs. So I would say if you're going to do it, you got to put money into it.
Absolutely. So that brings me to my next question, break even. A lot of people ask, when can I break even? Now, I can't say that, but I can ask you that, and you can tell me your answer of when you broke even on all expenses. So what month did you break even on all of your expenses that you had?
We broke even around month 8, and I had asked, I probably asked you. I probably didn't ask you because you wouldn't answer. I asked other owners. I had asked people prior, when does that happen? And a lot of people had said, close to the first year. Maybe on the conservative side, don't expect to start paying yourself too much in the first year. But yeah, we did it in month 8.
Awesome. And you might not know this question, but I told you prior to, I'll probably throw some curveballs at you. And if you don't know this question, that's okay. But what was the highest or lowest cash amount that you got to before it started turning around? And what I mean by that is in our item 7, we say you need $100,000 to $150,000 of liquid capital. Yet we as a franchisor have to stick to that number, but you as a franchisee can share that. What was the lowest point? Like if you had $100,000 cash, did you hit a negative like 40,000 was the highest before it started going backwards, 50,000 negative 60? Do you know that answer? Or you can guess, spitball it.
I'm going to guess 50.
50? So you're saying essentially this franchise cost you $50,000.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know who runs the money in this family, right? Ariana. So Ariana. If she was on here, she'd give you the exact numbers, but that would be my guess.
Well, that's great because we always get people like, when can I break even? When can I do this? And that'll help us out because they heard it from you and not us. And I think that's great.
Yeah.
All right. So back to rookie of the year. You're killing it. You're growing. You broke even in 8 months. You spent $50,000 max. Things started turning around. I saw that you're taking salary now in your 1.5 years of business, making money. I know that you're paying us less in royalties because here at A Place at Home, we do de-escalating royalties based on financial performance. There's our plug. And what did you do? I mean, you kind of already explained everything that you did to get rookie of the year.
Yeah.
What's the next goal for next year out of all our awards?
Well, let me still answer that question because I don't think I have really mentioned it in that, rookie of the year kind of sounds like an individual award, right? I mean, if you think of in a sports sense, it's individual stats, numbers, whether it's baseball or rookie of the year. This by no means is an individual or an owner award. This is a total team award. This is Marley, this is Belinda, Michelle, and Ariana, and the 40 plus caregivers. I can set the goals and the direction of the business, but if they don't execute on this stuff, then we don't win that award. So it's the reasons we won it is absolutely the contribution of the team and how well the team works together. It's not, Belinda has her role, Marley has her, and they just have their head down and they focus on that. If Belinda's scheduling and she's got, we get a 24/7 client that comes out of nowhere and we got to start scheduling it for tomorrow, I can guarantee you Marley's picking up the phone and making calls and they're brainstorming and I'm coming in and we're talking about it. So it's a total team effort for that award. So I just want to, as far as, it's not an individual award at all. And I think that combined with the way that we as a team communicate to our clients and potential clients and we treat them, we're in a business where we're taking care of loved ones. We're not selling, we're not putting a new roof on their house or doing, HVAC work in their home. We're actually taking care of a loved one. So the way we communicate with them, it's not business-like, it's a conversation. So I think stuff like that was very important too. That turns into word of mouth. People appreciate the conversations we have with them and they understand that we're passionate about this. And word of mouth, I will say, in the last 6 months has really, increased for us a lot.
Awesome. Building that foundation. So you're through, like I always say, year one is chaos. Can you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Year two is organization. Are you organized in this year two of yours?
Absolutely.
And year three is coming, right? You're going to be entering year three here soon. And that is full blown execution. So, like you said, you had to set goals, visions. What is that process? You know, you and I have been doing our coaching style for a long time. And the biggest thing we're trying to push down to owners is use that same style with their internal office staff.
Yeah.
What does that look like? How do you set your goals? What does that picture look like so that you can get them all on the same page going into this next year?
Sure. So we have a spreadsheet. It's got the goals on it. It's got the yearly goal, it's got the quarterly goal, and it's got weekly to-dos and kind of goals for us. Because I said this is a weekly business, right? We bill every week, we pay every week. So week to week it can be up and down. So every Monday afternoon, I have a meeting with the team and we go through the goals that we've set for the week. We look how we're doing for the quarter to hit the quarterly goals, but we talk about weekly goals, things that happened the past week and things we want to get accomplished this week. And we go through it, however long it takes. And so they understand, the whole team understands what we're trying to do. It's not just me and you, Dustin, talking about the numbers and the goals, and I know what's going on and they don't. The whole team knows what we want to get to. And I think, that makes them feel more part of the success that we're having, because they know what they need to do. And when we look back at the previous week and said, this was the goal we set and we hit it, and you feel that sense of accomplishment. So, that's kind of long-term goals. What we're looking at now that, after the award and going forward is we're going to continue to build off this strong foundation we have now, caregivers and clients. And we're looking at different ways to increase, say, our referrals right now. We're going to really start targeting the rehab facilities and partnering with them. We have some here and there that we've provided care for their clients and they send us people, but we're going to try to expand that. We're going to try to expand our VA footprint, getting the VA sending us more people and discharge planners. So that side of it, we want to increase that. And we're looking to increase, obviously, then we're going to need to increase the caregiver roster. So we're going to invest in that. We invested in the Google AdWords, Anna helped us set that up. Local nursing programs at the colleges around here, we're going to start to partner with. So, the chicken and the egg, you want more clients, you got to have more caregivers. So we're going to be working on increasing both.
Absolutely. And referral marketing is one thing I would say in the last 6 months, the whole organization has really started to put a refocus on. Again, during COVID, we invested in a lot of online presence and lead generation to bring in people Googling for in-home services. But now we're back. I wouldn't say old school. There's still new school to the old school. But like when I used to go out, I would meet case managers, social workers, discharge planners. We just integrated an unbelievable tool of Care Insights, right? Where you can now collect data on patient outcomes so that you can go out and have technology behind the care that you're providing and data to provide those referral sources of the impact your services are having on their lives, right? I know Michelle's been learning that.
Yep.
I didn't have those. I did not have those 4 or 5 years ago. So we're back to the old school with a new school kick. And I'm excited to see all you guys use that information. I know our marketing team is trying to get some good data collected so we can make some images for you. And you're going to be poised for supreme growth in the next year for sure. Do you concur? Sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think it's impressive that we could go in with that information and that data. Like I'm sure they're going to be surprised. It's data they don't have. They wouldn't be able to produce. And I think it's really, really important. It just shows we know what we're doing and we care. We're not just saying, hey, send us referrals, or saying to our clients, hey, we want you to increase your hours. The Care Insights stuff can support, what we're trying to get across to them. And it's for their benefit.
Absolutely. So we got about 5 minutes left, and I have the one question I asked it earlier, and I want to reiterate that is So let's say today's a new year. You have your 3 office staff members. What's your big, hairy, audacious goal for next year? And this could be personal. This could be business wise. This could be, I don't know, anything that you want. What does success look like from this point forward to the end of this next year?
I think we're going to get to a point. I mean, the obvious is growth, right? But anyone can say that. Like, how are you going to do that? Or I think we've built something really good here. And, I've believed the team that we've had here, the office staff, is the day they've been hired, they're still here. Like, we haven't had any turnover. I think we're really starting to build a solid team here. And I want to continue to grow that and add to that. And that's going to, allow us, as I did in the beginning, when I brought in people, I was able to increase hours, increase billing, increase clients, and be able to do it with caregivers supporting it. And I think to get to that 30,000+ a month billing, we're going to need to do that. We're going to need to have the staff to support it. So, our goal is to get over the 30, stay over that, and grow and see how close we can, get to the 40. I want to come after Jerome and Natalie Perkins. I need a little time for that, but I want to come after them. We got to come after them for some revenue numbers. Challenge them.
And those are our veteran owners that Gary was mentioning, doing unbelievable things. And I have no doubt you can reach them to get into that group. But they're growing fast too. Now, I will tell you this is another thing you should know, since you mentioned Natalie and Jerome. Natalie's opening a new location, not potentially, in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Jerome is currently looking at adding territory. I have a map over here on my right side of a little place called Nashua, New Hampshire.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do, Dustin.
Which is just waiting for services from
There's
this
a lot
guy.
of people up there. Yeah. We're looking at that. It's something we're talking about. Yep, absolutely.
There you go. Can't get a commitment on this day today, but that's okay.
No.
I'll have Mitch send you a territory here shortly. So, Gary, any final words? Oh, one thing. Anyone looking into this business in this day and age, you've accomplished a lot. You're still young goose. I don't think that's the right word, but I was lost for words there for a minute. You're a spring chicken. Maybe that's it.
There you go.
What's that? Is that the right one?
Sure.
Yeah. What is one piece of advice that you would get anyone looking to start into this or go into this, or maybe working with Mitch and at the tail end of this? What's the one thing you would tell them to be ready to do? And what can I expect?
If it's obviously with a place at home, you can expect, unbelievable support. I am like you said, a year and a half into this, and I am still doing weekly calls with you. I challenge Right at Home, Instead, any other agencies to tell me they're doing, franchisees are doing weekly calls with the CEO or anybody of that like to kind of go through the past week and the week ahead. So you're going to get unbelievable support. I'd say once you get rolling and you are ready to open the doors, figure out what your skill set is. What is your best skill set for this business? Where do you as an owner bring the most value? And then once you do that, you want to focus on that and then build a team around you to fill the other roles and the other skills needed. Don't try to do something that you think you need to do because you're the owner, but maybe you're not the best person for it. I was doing the scheduling and coordinating and managing the caregivers, and I had never done that job before. Marley came in here with 10 years experience. She knew how to talk the talk of CNAs. She knew how to communicate better with them. And she came in here and stabilized everything. And I got out of that and I went over to the sales and marketing side. So figure out what your value is to the company. Don't try to do it all, and then build a team around the other roles and have people who are good at that take care of those responsibilities.
All right. Absolutely. I think that's, for sure. And I think we do a good job as a franchisor of pinpointing those weaknesses per owner and strengths and saying, all right, this is what you need to focus on, and we need to offset you with this, right?
Yep.
Now to take a step back, I know, and I appreciate everything that you said, that you still get to do coaching calls with myself. I'm always available going forward. And yes, you are my active coaching call. But we have a great teammate in Aubrey as well coming on here that has been coaching a lot of our newbies and does that. And she's been trained by myself and our team on how to hold those. So I want to give a shout out to Aubrey. I know you haven't really worked directly with her in terms of coaching, but what can you say about Aubrey? Because I see her watching on here.
I have not on coaching, but I've worked with Aubrey a lot from the marketing side. She's awesome. Don't lose her. Whatever you got to pay her, she needs a raise, Dustin. How about that?
All right.
Whatever you got to pay her to keep her, you have to.
That completely backfired. All right.
She's one person, and she has probably a lot of people calling on her. And I'd say I've never waited more than an hour for a response from Aubrey, even if it's I can't right now, but I'll get to it type of stuff. She's great. Don't lose her.
I won't. Me and Aubrey have been together for a long. She's laughed. There's a delay, and she just laughed through the wall. And we also have Danny, our operations and support specialist. Yep. She does our onboarding. What can you say about her and her role? Since we're talking about everyone here. Yeah,
I could say all the same exact things for Danny. And Danny also works with Ariana a little bit from the financial side. Yep. She's saved our butt a bunch of times. And just when I started out and we were trying to learn the technology of Clear Care and everything like that, Danny was always there guiding us through that. And she's been great. Another one who responds right away. I swear I've never waited for more than an hour for anybody from that office except you to get back to me. Yeah. So Danny's great.
I do have an assistant now.
I know.
She can go, her name is Mariana, and she can go right to the top. No, I'm kidding. I'll always be there for you. And I always do try to call you within an hour.
I know. You're busy. Yeah.
So, well, Gary, I appreciate your time, sir. I've loved watching your journey. Been in burning buildings for you. And I'd go in another one for you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I know you will. That's the great thing. I know you will.
All right. Thanks, and have a great day, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Dustin.
Bye.